I mean, even on my second album cover, I'm on the back of my album cover punching a heavy bag.
I mean, it is uncanny.
It's really
totally uncanny. Musician LL Cool J was raised in large part by his mother's parents, Ellen and Eugene Griffith. But when we examined LL's mother's DNA, we saw that Eugene was not her biological father, meaning that the man who played such a large role in LL's childhood was not his biological grandfather. It was such a shocking discovery that we decided it just wouldn't be right to surprise LL Cool J with it. So I called him before our interview to let him know in private, away from the TV cameras. What was it like for you to find this out?
It's a little devastating to know that, you know, that guy that raised me, that was so kind to me, wasn't my blood. You know, my mother put it in a really succinct way, or she said it was the end of one chapter of my life as I know it and the beginning of a new one.
We now set out to discover the identity of LL's biological grandfather. The process was painstaking. Our genetic genealogist, CeCe Moore, compared LL's mother's DNA to millions of other DNA profiles in publicly available databases and mapped the family trees of every close match, which eventually led us to an amazing find. That's your mother's DNA compared to the DNA of a woman named Claudia Lewis. And the DNA that they shared is highlighted in red. And can you see how much red there is?
It's a lot of red, man.
Your mother and Claudia share 24.7% of their DNA. They are, without a doubt, half-siblings.
Wow. Claudia Lewis.
Claudia Lewis. Claudia Lewis is the daughter of Nathaniel Christie Lewis.
Wow.
That means that your mother's biological father was a man named Nathaniel Christie Lewis. He is your biological grandfather.
Yeah, that's heavy. I mean, you know, you couldn't have told me in 1,000 years, in 1,000,000 years that this was the case in my life.
Now that we'd identified LL's grandfather, we could begin to research his story. And it wasn't long before we found his name all over the newspapers. It turns out that from a very young age, Nathaniel Christie Lewis and his brother, John Henry Lewis, were famous athletes. And remarkably, they excelled at a sport that LL has always loved: boxing.
Before his 4th year was over, John Henry and Christie were diligently engaged in learning to box. The two boys proved to be a sensation. Their services as juvenile fistic showmen were in great demand. Man, I mean, you know, I'm such a boxing fan. My mother's a boxing fan. My mother loved boxing. You know, I mean, even on my second album cover, I'm on the back of my album cover punching a heavy bag.
I mean, it is uncanny.
It's really
totally uncanny.
I mean, you know, it makes you wonder if your DNA carries shadows or consciousness.
Yeah, things that are coded.
It's in there, man. Wow. There's a sense of pride from that.
Sure.
Maybe 100 years from now, there'll be kids that are of my lineage, and they'll feel as proud as I do.
Genetic genealogy is a revelatory tool, allowing us to break through genealogical brick walls to recover long-lost ancestors who had disappeared from the paper trail. To see more incredible family history stories, click here. And thank you for watching.